Your voices have been heard and I've begun making updates to Chess 2. Today we tackle some of the quality of life suggestions from the comments of the last video, which, at the time of recording, sits at 33,000 views.
Okay, it's happening.
And more importantly, we hit 1K subscribers. And before we get into it, I just want to say thank you all for supporting the channel. All right, let's get to it. So after reading through the comments, I noticed a couple of suggestions that showed up multiple times and a few other suggestions that only showed up once or twice, but they made a lot of sense to add. So we're going to start with those first, with the first one being motion blur. Yeah, you got a point. Personally, I don't have too much of an issue with motion blur in games, but I definitely see how this could be a problem for others. So I added an option in the settings menu where players can toggle motion blur. All I had to do for this was to add a reference in the code to tweak Unity's post effects. Here's a comparison. I also went ahead and added an option to disable the camera rotation during a turn change because this also showed up in the comments. Here's a comparison of that. One of the more suggested changes was to add a way to better tell the pieces apart. Admittedly, during initial development, this was something that I really couldn't decide on. I ended up adding a blue highlight underneath pieces that are owned by you. To be fair, with all the colors happening on the screen, that's not the easiest thing to spot. To help better tell pieces apart from the others and the level itself, I added hats, which was something suggested. I really couldn't decide on a type of hat, so I went with top hats. Every piece wears a top hat except the king, queen, and bear. For the queen, I kept her crown, but I added a spear to act as a dome on top of the crown. This dome changes colors depending on who owns the queen. As for the king, I tweaked the texture of the crown he already had. I chose to go this route to make sure the king and queen kept the gold on their crowns, while also still being able to tell whether or not they belong to you. For the bear, I gave it a two-colored gesture hat. Since both players can control the bear, I made it black and white, which leads me to the next thing, the hat colors. I decided to stick with just black and white for two reasons. First being to contrast the colorful pieces and the environment, and the second was just more of a reference to chess itself. I hope these changes help out a bit. Next up was adding sound effects to the monkey when it jumps over pieces. I thought this one was a neat addition and decided to take it a step further. To add a bit of personality to the pieces, they now all have sound effects added for specific situations. So every piece now makes a sound when captured. In addition to that, the monkey makes a sound when jumping over pieces. The crow uses a sound in the last video when I showed the crow flying, and the king laughs when saved from jail. Also, as I'm sure you've noticed by now from the previous clips, the monkey now has two flipping animations added when jumping over pieces. I threw some wind particles on it just to add to the effect. The next requested update, although it hasn't been added quite yet, is online multiplayer. This was another one that was suggested by quite a few of you. In the previous video, I mentioned that if this project got enough support, I would add online multiplayer. So it's in the works. Netcode isn't the easiest thing to work with, so I'll be addressing that in the next video. Seriously, it's a lot of work and even more documentation, and I hate documentation, but that subject is vast enough to warrant its own video, so that'll be coming next. And finally, the other most requested feature to add was an AI to play against in a single player mode. So remember that thing I just said about netcode being a very challenging thing to implement into the game? Well, you can take that and multiply it by 100 when it comes to adding AI to a chess game, let alone a modified version of chess. But I'm up to the challenge because I ain't no bitch. All jokes aside, attempting to create an AI for a chess game is going to be a massive challenge and definitely a time-consuming one. So that's going to be put off until after the online multiplayer is finished. And again, that one is a vast enough subject to warrant its own video. There were a few other comments that I wanted to respond to before ending the video. The first one, can it be done on mobile? While this is completely doable and would even have crossplay thanks to how Unity works, it would require a lot more work to be put into the project, and my plate is pretty full right now with work, adding multiplayer, getting these videos done and edited, and the beast that is AI. I'm gonna have to put a pin in that one, but it is a good idea, especially if this game was monetized. While we're on the topic of monetization, the next comment pretty much asks for an in-game currency to be used for customizable cosmetics. Once again, another good one, especially if this game was monetized, but it's outside the scope of what I'm planning to do with this project. By all means, I could charge for the game or charge for an in-game currency, but this game wasn't my idea, and I wouldn't feel right charging for it. There is an option to donate when downloading the game, but that goes to supporting the channel, development of this project, and future projects. The next one asks if I can make a version for Mac. Give me a sec. There you go. Unity makes this one pretty simple. There's only a couple of clicks to change the target platform. The same could be done for a mobile version, but a bit more work will have to go into making a mobile version more than just changing the target platform. A bit of code will have to be reworked, some assets and visuals will have to be downscaled, things of that nature. Alright, so that's the current status of this project. Before I end the video, man, I have to say again, thank y'all for getting the channel to 1,000 subscribers. I truly appreciate your support for the channel, and I most definitely appreciate all the feedback. I'm really enjoying working on this, and more importantly, I'm excited to use the lessons I've learned here in future projects. But that's gonna do it for this video. The new update is live, links in the description. Online multiplayer is coming in the next update, and it'll release the same day that the video goes up. But as I said, game development takes a little bit of time, but I am trying to get it out to you guys as soon as possible. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and drop a squirrel emoji in the comments. Is there a squirrel emoji? I think it's a chipmunk. Either way, drop one in the comment section. And as always, if you're feeling super generous and want to stay up to date with this project and the future projects, or just want to see me work on random games, how about subscribing? Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.